Please subscribe and like the video before continuing. The Young and the Restless preview week of October 20th, Tessa's kiss, Holden watched, Christine's party crashed. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal a preview clip has been released for the week of October 20th, 2025. Want more of The Young and the Restless? Get updates on the latest news about The Young and the Restless, straight to your inbox. We use your personal data for interest-based advertising, as outlined in our privacy notice. What is this? Report ad. It shows Tessa Porter, Kate Fairbanks, kissing Daniel Romalotti, Jr., Michael Grazadii. Kyle Abbott, Michael Mealer, watches Holden Novak, Nathan Owens. Plus, Phyllis Summers, Michelle Stafford, crashes Christine Blair's, Laura Lee Bell, bachelorette party. Keep reading and let's talk about what is coming up in the CBS soap opera. Holden Novak's chat. Let's start off from the beginning of the preview clip. First up, we see Holden sitting with a lady with long hair, maybe Sienna Bacall, Tamara Braun. They are sitting at a table at the hotel in public view. Kyle watches from afar, studying the scene. Holden Novak's chat, the truth behind the viral sensation that took everyone by surprise. In an age where social media trends come and go in the blink of an eye, few moments manage to captivate audiences long enough to become cultural talking points. Yet, Holden Novak's chat did just that. What began as a seemingly ordinary live stream quickly spiraled into one of the most talked about online events of the year. The conversation that unfolded not only revealed unexpected truths about Novak's life but also sent shockwaves through the online community, sparking debates, emotional reactions, and a frenzy of speculation that hasn't calmed down since. For those unfamiliar, Holden Novak, a rising online personality known for his witty commentary and deep insights, decided to go live one evening to clear the air about recent rumors surrounding his personal and professional life. No one expected the emotional "please subscribe and like the video before continuing" roller coaster that followed. Within minutes, the chat was flooded with tens of thousands of viewers, all eager to hear what Holden had to say. What made the session unforgettable wasn't just the confessions, it was the authenticity behind them. Holden spoke candidly about the pressures of fame, the toll of social media scrutiny, and the personal sacrifices that came with his rapid rise to stardom. He admitted that despite his confident public image, he often felt lost and misunderstood. The internet, which can be both a source of validation and destruction, had pushed him to a breaking point. "I built this version of myself that people expected to see," he said during the chat, his voice cracking. "But somewhere along the way, I lost who Holden really was." The moment hit home for fans. Many had admired Novak for his humor and resilience, never realizing how much of his persona was shaped by the weight of expectation. What started as a casual conversation became a raw confession that peeled back the curtain on the cost of online fame. He spoke about strained friendships, failed relationships, and the loneliness that came from constantly being in the spotlight. He also addressed the rumors that had been circulating for weeks, claims of behind-the-scenes conflicts, career setbacks, and personal heartbreak. "There were things said about me that weren't true," Holden explained. "But instead of fighting them, I went quiet because I didn't want to feed the fire. Tonight, I just wanted to speak for myself." That single line resonated across social media, becoming one of the most quoted phrases of the night. Fans began posting clips, reaction videos, and emotional tributes using the hashtag #HoldenSpeaks, which quickly trended worldwide. Some viewers praised his honesty, calling it a masterclass in vulnerability, while others speculated that the chat was a strategic move to rebrand his image. Regardless of intent, one thing was undeniable: Holden Novak had reignited a public conversation about mental health, authenticity, and the toxic side of online celebrity. Behind the trending hashtags and viral clips was a story of a man trying to reclaim his identity in a world that often blurs the line between real and performative. In the days following the live stream, Holden's fanbase only grew stronger. People from all walks of life shared their own stories of burnout, self-doubt, and the fear of losing themselves to public perception. Psychologists and media experts even weighed in, praising Novak for using his platform to start a meaningful dialogue. But not everyone was supportive. Some critics accused him of playing the victim, suggesting that his emotional transparency was a calculated act to distract from unresolved controversies. Online commentators dissected every second of the chat, analyzing his tone, his pauses, even his choice of words. Still, Holden didn't respond to the criticism. He posted a simple message the following day: "I said what I needed to say. Now I'm focusing on healing." The message, while brief, spoke volumes. It hinted that the chat wasn't a publicity stunt, it was a turning point. Sources close to Novak later revealed that the live stream was unplanned, a spontaneous decision after days of internal conflict. Friends had urged him to take a break, but Holden felt that silence would only make things worse. So he went live, speaking from the heart, not from a script. That authenticity was what set the event apart. Fans could feel it, the shaky voice, the unfiltered emotion, the candid moments where he admitted he didn't have all the answers. "Maybe I'm not supposed to," he said at one point. "Maybe that's what makes me human." It was a moment of rare vulnerability that silenced the chat room for several seconds. For a man whose life had been lived in front of millions, this was perhaps the first time he truly felt seen. Since then, Holden has stepped back from constant posting, choosing instead to share "Please subscribe and like the video before continuing" selective updates about his recovery journey and creative projects. He's partnered with mental health organizations and launched a new podcast where he discusses topics like burnout, online pressure, and emotional resilience. His fans describe it as a softer, wiser version of the man they once knew, a Holden who has learned to balance fame with self-preservation. While many influencers talk about authenticity, Holden Novak embodied it in that single chat. It wasn't polished. It wasn't perfect. But it was real, and that's what made it powerful. His words became a mirror for countless others navigating their own struggles behind the facade of curated perfection. The viral chat may have started as a moment of crisis, but it evolved into something much greater, a movement. A reminder that honesty, even when messy, can be transformative. Months later, the ripple effects are still being felt. Holden's name continues to trend every time he posts, and fans revisit that fateful chat as a testament to his growth. It's no longer just about what he revealed that night, it's about what he inspired in others. In the end, Holden Novak's chat wasn't merely a viral event, it was a revelation of truth, pain, and healing in real time. It showed the world that beneath the filters and fame, every human, no matter how public their life, deserves the chance to be heard and understood. Kyle Abbott instigates. While Holden is having his meeting, Claire Grace Newman, Haley Aaron, walks up behind Kyle. The blonde demands to know what Kyle is doing. That is when the young man says, "The more important question is, what is Holden doing? And who is he doing it with? What is this?" Report ad. Kyle is being pretty ridiculous and stalkerish. How many times does Claire have to say she's not doing anything with Holden, so what does it matter who he talks to? Kyle Abbott instigates. Genoa City's power struggle erupts in chaos. The drama in Genoa City has reached a boiling point once again, and at the center of it all stands Kyle Abbott. The once golden boy of the Abbott family has turned into a man whose every move is driven by ambition, emotion, and an increasingly dangerous desire to prove himself. Kyle Abbott instigates isn't just a rumor, it's the latest shocking chapter in the Young and the Restless saga that's leaving fans questioning how far Kyle will go to reclaim control over his life, his family, and his future. It all began with whispers that Kyle was orchestrating something behind the scenes at Jebo. After months of being pushed aside, overlooked, and criticized by his father, Jack Abbott, Kyle finally decided to take matters into his own hands. His recent actions, subtle "Please subscribe and like the video before continuing" manipulations, quiet alliances, and risky provocations, suggest that Kyle's transformation into a full-blown corporate shark might be complete. Yet, beneath that polished exterior and cold stare lies something deeper: resentment, heartbreak, and a festering grudge that's been building ever since his marriage to Summer crumbled and his power at Jabot began to slip away. Kyle's life once looked perfect: a successful executive, a devoted husband, and a respected abbot heir. But betrayal and disappointment have hardened him. He blames Summer for choosing loyalty to her mother, Phyllis, over their marriage. He resents his father for treating him like a reckless child instead of a capable leader. And as for Audra Charles, the woman who reignited his passion but also manipulated him for her own gain, Kyle's feelings are tangled in a storm of attraction and vengeance. Now, it appears Kyle is no longer content to be a victim of circumstance. He's become the instigator. Sources within the Jabot offices hint that Kyle has been leaking strategic information to outside parties, sowing discord between Jack and Billy. The once solid Abbott brothers are reportedly at odds again, and it's not by coincidence. Kyle knows exactly how to push buttons, and he's doing so with surgical precision. Every sarcastic remark in a board meeting, every accidental slip of information, it all serves a purpose. He's testing boundaries, stirring emotions, and waiting for his family to crumble under the pressure. And if that happens, Kyle will be right there to pick up the pieces and claim what he believes is rightfully his. Those close to Kyle have noticed a change in him. He's colder, more calculated, and unapologetic about the choices he's making. The smile he wears now has an edge to it, a hint of danger that wasn't there before. Friends who once tried to intervene say he's stopped listening to reason, convinced that manipulation is the only way to survive in Genoa City's ruthless corporate world. "I learned from the best," Kyle reportedly told a confidant. "If Jack can play games, so can I." Those words have haunted fans since they surfaced online, signaling a turning point for the Abbott legacy. Jack, who spent years trying to instill integrity in his son, now finds himself facing a reflection of his own younger self, a version more ruthless, more cunning, and perhaps even more dangerous. As tension at Jabot rises, so do suspicions. Ashley senses something is off, and Billy, ever the opportunist, may exploit the chaos for his own gain. Meanwhile, Diane, Kyle's mother, is caught in an impossible position. She's desperate to protect her son but terrified of what he's becoming. Her maternal instincts tell her to intervene, yet her loyalty to Jack and her fragile position in the Abbott family keep her silent, for now. Diane's guilt could become Kyle's greatest weapon. Behind closed doors, Kyle has already started manipulating her, playing on her emotions to extract information and influence her actions. "You owe me, Mom," he told her in a tense exchange that left her visibly shaken. The words weren't just emotional, they were strategic. Kyle knows Diane will do anything to protect him, even if it means betraying Jack's trust. But Kyle's "Please subscribe and like the video before continuing" machinations aren't limited to family. He's been spotted having secret meetings at society, often with mysterious associates who aren't regular Genoa City players. Some believe he's forging alliances with outside investors, possibly Tucker McCall or Audra Charles herself. If that's true, Kyle may be aligning himself with two of the most manipulative minds in town, and that could spell disaster for the Abbotts. Audra, in particular, remains a wild card. After their turbulent breakup, she's been trying to regain her power through new business ventures. Yet, the undeniable chemistry between her and Kyle makes it impossible to rule out another reunion, this time one built on mutual deception rather than love. If they team up again, the fallout could devastate everyone in their orbit. And yet, despite the chaos he's causing, Kyle doesn't see himself as a villain. In his mind, he's taking back control of a life that's been stolen from him. "They left me no choice," he insists. "I'm done being underestimated." Those words echo the mindset of a man teetering between ambition and self-destruction. He's not just instigating chaos for the sake of it, he's trying to reshape his destiny, even if it means burning bridges along the way. As the battle lines form, the question isn't whether Kyle will succeed, it's what he'll lose in the process. His relationship with Jack is already fractured, and any hope of reconciliation with Summer seems long gone. Even Harrison, his young son, could become collateral damage if Kyle's scheming goes too far. Jack, meanwhile, may soon realize that the greatest threat to Jabot isn't an external enemy but his own son. The Abbott patriarch has weathered many storms, but this betrayal cuts deeper than any corporate takeover. Family has always been his weakness, and Kyle knows it. That's what makes this particular power play so dangerous. Fans are buzzing about what comes next. Will Kyle expose Jabot's secrets? Will Diane finally turn against her son to save the family? And what role will Audra play in this tangled web of manipulation and revenge? One thing's certain, Kyle Abbott is no longer the polished executive trying to live up to his father's name. He's a man who has learned to weaponize charm, ambition, and emotion in equal measure. And in Genoa City, that combination can be lethal. The next few weeks promise explosive confrontations, broken alliances, and shocking revelations that will leave Genoa City forever changed. Whether Kyle emerges victorious or destroyed remains to be seen, but one thing is undeniable. The boy who once sought approval has become the man pulling the strings. Kyle Abbott has stopped following the rules. Now, he's writing them. And as the power struggle intensifies, one truth becomes crystal clear: when Kyle Abbott instigates, nobody, not even his own family, is safe. Please subscribe and like the video before continuing. Christine Blair's party crashed. The Young and the Restless spoilers for the week of October 20th reveal that the preview clip also shows Christine having her party, most likely a bachelorette party. The blonde is all dressed up and having a great time with her closest friends. That is when Phyllis interrupts. The redhead yells out, "So sweet, not a dry eye in the house." Of course, everyone, including Christine, wants to know what Phyllis is doing there. Instead of leaving, the redhead decides to crash her rival's party. Isn't Phyllis a bit old to be acting like this? Sheesh, get a life, lady. Christine Blair's party crashed. Chaos, secrets, and betrayal rock Genoa City's celebration. What was supposed to be a night of elegance, laughter, and reconnection turned into one of Genoa City's most explosive evenings yet. Christine Blair's long-awaited party, a classy gathering meant to celebrate new beginnings and honor old friendships, spiraled into absolute chaos when unexpected guests, buried secrets, and simmering rivalries collided in front of everyone. The event that began with champagne and smiles ended with shouting, tears, and shocking revelations that no one saw coming. Christine, known for her grace and integrity, had been planning the evening for weeks. The guest list was carefully curated: close friends, colleagues, and a few former rivals she hoped to mend fences with. It was supposed to be her statement to Genoa City, that she was stepping into a new chapter after months of personal and professional turmoil. The venue sparkled, the music flowed, and the night began like a dream. But in The Young and the Restless, dreams have a way of turning into nightmares. As guests mingled under the soft glow of chandeliers, whispers began circulating. Someone had arrived who wasn't on the guest list. The tension was palpable as heads turned toward the door, and there she was. Phyllis Summers. Looking as confident as ever, Phyllis made her entrance with that signature smirk, instantly silencing the crowd. Her history with Christine is one of the most legendary rivalries in Genoa City, spanning decades of betrayal, courtroom battles, and emotional warfare. The sight of Phyllis crashing Christine's carefully orchestrated event was like throwing gasoline on an open flame. Christine froze, trying to maintain composure, but her eyes said it all: this was personal. "You weren't invited," Christine said sharply, her voice barely hiding the fury beneath her calm exterior. Phyllis, unfazed, simply smiled. "Oh, come on, Cricket. You didn't really think you could throw a party in this town without me showing up, did you?" The room collectively gasped. Paul Williams, standing nearby, exchanged a wary glance with Danny Romalotti. Both men had complicated histories with the two women, and it was clear they knew what was coming wouldn't end quietly. What followed was a verbal showdown that had every guest on edge. Years of buried resentment poured out as Christine and Phyllis faced off. Accusations of betrayal, jealousy, and lies filled the air, each word sharper than the last. Danny tried to intervene, pleading with both women to calm down, but neither would back down. For Christine, the party represented healing and progress. For Phyllis, it was a reminder of everything she believed Christine had taken from her: love, opportunity, and reputation. "You always get to play the hero," Phyllis snapped, her voice trembling. "Please subscribe and like the video before continuing." With rage. "But we both know you're not as innocent as you pretend to be." Christine's eyes flashed. "At least I don't destroy everything I touch." The words hit like a slap, and the tension finally broke. Glasses shattered, voices rose, and the once celebratory atmosphere turned into a battlefield of broken pride. Nikki Newman quickly stepped in, trying to restore order, while Victor Newman observed from a distance, his expression unreadable. Even he, the master of control, seemed intrigued by the chaos unfolding before him. And then came the real shocker: Phyllis wasn't the only uninvited guest. Just as the confrontation seemed to cool, the doors swung open again. In walked Heather Stevens, her presence sending ripples through the crowd. Heather's return to Genoa City was already controversial, given her complicated past with Daniel Romolotti, and her sudden arrival at Christine's party made it clear that old wounds were about to be reopened. The sight of Daniel's former flame arriving unannounced didn't go unnoticed by Lily Winters, who stiffened immediately. Heather offered a polite smile, but the tension between her, Lily, and Daniel could have cut through glass. It was a powder keg waiting to explode, and explode it did when Heather made a bold confession. "I didn't come here to celebrate," she said softly but firmly. "I came here because there's something everyone needs to know." The room went silent. Daniel's face drained of color as Heather revealed that she had been offered a position in Genoa City, one that would put her directly at odds with both him and Lily professionally. The revelation sent shockwaves through the room, effectively ending any chance of a peaceful evening. Lily stormed out, Daniel followed, and Christine tried desperately to regain control of her crumbling event. But things only got worse. As if scripted by fate itself, Chance Chancellor entered moments later, clearly unaware of the chaos he was walking into. His arrival drew sharp glances, especially from Sharon and Summer, both of whom shared complex ties to him. The emotional undercurrents were too strong to ignore. Sharon's quiet sadness, Summer's conflicted stare, and Chance's discomfort created an almost cinematic moment of tension that had everyone whispering. Christine, realizing her night had unraveled beyond repair, tried to end the gathering gracefully, but her closing remarks were interrupted once again, this time by a shocking announcement from Phyllis. "You all want honesty? Fine. Let's talk about the real reason Christine threw this little bash." The room froze again. Christine looked visibly shaken as Phyllis revealed that Christine's party wasn't just a social event, it was also meant to serve as a soft launch for a new legal venture she'd been secretly developing. The revelation blindsided even her closest allies. Paul looked betrayed, Danny looked confused, and the rest of Genoa City's elite stared in disbelief. Phyllis's voice dripped with venom. "You always said you were different from me, Christine. But here you are, manipulating people to get what you want, just like the rest of us." The humiliation was almost too much to bear. Christine's eyes welled with tears, her perfectly planned evening reduced to ruins. But in a moment that reminded everyone why she's one of Genoa City's strongest women, she lifted her chin and replied, "You can crash my party, Phyllis, but you can't destroy me." That declaration earned a rare round of applause from Nikki and Lauren Fenmore, who stood by Christine's side. Still, the damage was done. Guests began leaving one by one, the air thick with gossip and speculation. By the end of the night, Christine stood alone amid the remnants of her shattered celebration, empty glasses, discarded decorations, and the lingering echo of whispered betrayal. In the aftermath, the fallout spread quickly. Social media in Genoa City buzzed with gossip, while alliances began to shift. Danny and Christine's friendship seemed strained, Daniel and Lily's relationship was on shaky ground, and Phyllis, ever the troublemaker, appeared almost proud of the chaos she'd caused. Yet, deep down, even Phyllis couldn't deny the sadness in her eyes as she walked away from the wreckage. She had won the night, perhaps, but lost another piece of herself in the process. As for Christine, this night will mark a turning point. The betrayal she endured, the humiliation she faced, and the truths that came to light will shape the next chapter of her story. She may have lost control of her party, but she hasn't lost her spirit. The people of Genoa City will soon learn that Christine Blair doesn't stay down for long. And when she rises again, those who crossed her, Phyllis, Heather, and anyone else who underestimated, please subscribe and like the video before continuing. Will wish they hadn't. What began as a night of celebration ended as a battlefield of broken relationships and unveiled motives. Christine Blair's party may have been crashed, but the storm it unleashed has only just begun, and Genoa City will never be the same. Tessa Porter's kiss. Over in a hotel, Tessa walks up the stairs but stumbles. It seems that she might have drowned her sorrows after that disastrous meeting with Mariah Copeland, Cameron Grimes. When the brunette starts to fall, Daniel catches her. Then, Tessa looks longingly at him and plants a passionate kiss on his lips. While this might be surprising to Daniel, he actually does have feelings for her. At the same time, would he just be a rebound? We will have to keep watching to find out. What is this? Report ad. Which storyline are you looking forward to seeing the most during the week of October 20, 2025? Share your thoughts in the comments section below. Remember to Tessa Porter's kiss, the moment that shook Genoa City and changed everything forever. It was supposed to be a quiet night, a moment of reflection for Tessa Porter after months of struggle, self-discovery, and emotional turbulence. But what unfolded under the soft glow of Genoa City's skyline became a headline-grabbing, heart-stopping revelation that has fans of the young and the restless talking non-stop. Tessa Porter's kiss wasn't just a fleeting romantic gesture, it was an explosive turning point that sent shockwaves through relationships, careers, and hearts across the canvas. Tessa, known for her soulful music and genuine heart, has never been one to seek drama. Yet somehow, drama always finds her. Her relationship with Mariah Copeland, once the epitome of love conquering all, has recently been overshadowed by distance, misunderstandings, and conflicting dreams. Tessa's music career has been demanding, taking her on tours and away from home for weeks at a time. Mariah, balancing her responsibilities as a mother and her own career, has been struggling with feeling left behind. For months, the two have tried to bridge the growing emotional gap, but cracks have begun to show. Those closest to them, Sharon, Noah, and even Devin, have noticed the tension that hides behind their practiced smiles. And then came the kiss. The night started innocently enough. Tessa had been at a small industry mixer organized by Devin Hamilton to celebrate the launch of his new recording project. Surrounded by fellow artists, producers, and old friends, Tessa seemed relaxed, even happy for the first time in a long while. She laughed, sang a few impromptu lines when encouraged, and for a moment, the old spark returned. But fate had other plans. Among the attendees was a familiar face, Noah Newman, her former flame and someone who still holds a complicated place in her heart. Their history is filled with what-ifs and unresolved feelings, though they've both tried to move past it in the name of friendship. But when emotions run high and old chemistry resurfaces, boundaries blur. Throughout the evening, Tessa and Noah found themselves drawn into conversation after conversation, sharing stories, reminiscing about their past collaborations, and even laughing about old mistakes. To outsiders, it seemed harmless. But beneath the surface, something deeper was stirring. They both felt it, the pull of nostalgia, the comfort of someone who once knew their hearts completely. As the night wore on and the crowd thinned, the atmosphere shifted. The music quieted, the city lights dimmed, and an air of intimacy settled between them. Noah complimented Tessa on how much she had grown as an artist, how her songs had found a new kind of honesty. Tessa smiled softly, her eyes reflecting both pride and pain. "Sometimes honesty hurts," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "It costs you the things you thought you'd always." Please subscribe and like the video before continuing. That was the moment everything changed. Noah reached for her hand, not out of passion, but comfort. Yet, in that brief connection, years of suppressed emotion surfaced. One look, one shared breath, and suddenly the distance between them disappeared. The kiss that followed wasn't planned, nor was it casual. It was slow, emotional, filled with the weight of everything unsaid between them. For just a moment, time froze. The music, the city, the noise, all faded into silence. But as soon as it happened, reality came crashing down. Tessa pulled away, her eyes wide with shock. "Noah. I can't," she stammered, her voice trembling. "This isn't who I am anymore." The guilt washed over her instantly. She loved Mariah, she knew that with every fiber of her being. But the kiss, unexpected and electric, made her question what had been missing in her relationship lately. Was it connection? Was it spontaneity? Or was it simply the longing for the version of herself she used to be? Noah looked equally shaken, apologizing immediately. "I shouldn't have done that," he said softly. "It was a mistake." But the damage was done. Both knew that what happened would haunt them. And, as fate would have it, the secret didn't stay hidden for long. A fan who had been at the event recognized Tessa and snapped a photo of the moment just before the kiss, a photo that would later surface online, igniting a storm of speculation. Within hours, whispers began circulating in Genoa City. Social media lit up with fans dissecting every detail, and by the next morning, Mariah had seen the photo. Her heart broke. She didn't need an explanation, she knew what she was seeing. But what hurt most wasn't the kiss itself, it was the confirmation that something between her and Tessa had shifted. When Tessa came home, she found Mariah waiting, the printed photo on the coffee table between them. The confrontation was raw and emotional. "Was it worth it?" Mariah asked, her voice cracking. "All those nights you said you missed me, all those promises, you threw them away for one kiss?" Tessa's tears came immediately. "I didn't mean for it to happen," she cried. "It wasn't about Noah. It was about me. I've been lost, Mariah. I've been trying to find my way back, and I made a mistake. A stupid, human mistake. But forgiveness isn't easy when love feels betrayed." Mariah's trust, once unshakable, had been fractured. She needed time to process, to understand whether this was an accident or a symptom of something deeper. For Tessa, it was a moment of painful clarity. The kiss forced her to confront the truth about her emotional state and the toll fame had taken on her relationship. She realized she had been pouring so much of herself into music that she had forgotten how to nurture the love that grounded her. The aftermath rippled through Genoa City. Sharon, ever the peacemaker, urged Mariah to hear Tessa out, reminding her that love, especially in this town, often comes with heartbreak. Noah, racked with guilt, confessed to his father, Nick, about what had happened. Nick's disappointment was palpable. "You can't keep going back to old flames every time you're lonely, son," he warned. "You're just lighting fires that will burn everyone you care about." Meanwhile, Devon found himself caught in the middle, unsure whether to protect Tessa's professional image or let the scandal play out. The gossip threatened to derail her upcoming tour, and her label demanded she issue a public statement. But Tessa refused to spin the story. Instead, she took to social media and posted a heartfelt message that silenced critics and moved fans to tears. "I made a mistake. I hurt someone I love. I don't have excuses, only lessons. Fame doesn't make you immune to loneliness, and love doesn't make you perfect. I'm working on being both honest and whole again." The post went viral, praised for its vulnerability and maturity. Even Mariah, though still heartbroken, couldn't deny the sincerity behind the words. Slowly, the walls between them began to crack, not from apology, but from understanding. Love in Genoa City has always been messy, tangled in ambition and regret. But what separates lasting love from fleeting attraction is forgiveness. And while Mariah isn't ready to forget, she might, in time, forgive. As for Tessa, the kiss that almost destroyed everything might end up being the wake-up call that saves her, not just as a partner, but as an artist and a woman learning to own her flaws. Rumors suggest that Tessa's next album will feature a track simply titled The Kiss, a haunting ballad inspired by that night. Insiders say the lyrics are heartbreakingly beautiful, capturing both the guilt of betrayal and the hope of redemption. Fans who've heard snippets describe it as the most honest work of her career. In the end, Tessa Porter's Kiss isn't "Please subscribe and like the video before continuing." Just a scandal, it's a symbol of growth, pain, and the complicated beauty of being human. It reminds us that even in the world of glitz, glamour, and soap opera chaos, love remains imperfect and fragile. And for Tessa Porter, this one moment of weakness may just become the catalyst for her greatest transformation yet. Genoa City will be watching closely as the story unfolds, because one thing is certain, that single kiss changed everything.